everybody, welcome to Sonic Talk. We're back again. Sorry for the lack of live broadcast last week. We had a pre-record of a great interview with Venus Theory. I hope that was good for you. But we're back now live, and this is a music technology podcast. We'll be talking about things to do with synthesizers, drum machines, software, kind of music delivery. There's all sorts of the ecosystem surrounding music creation, distribution, and playing and performance. So I do hope you can stick with us for the next hour or so, where we'll be talking to our guest and getting down to some of the week's news, as probably well as going a little off topic, because summer is here and it's not usually plentiful in terms of topics, but there are definitely a few. Before I get to that, I'm just going to encourage you to join our Patreon, and I will play a little spot here, so please consider it. There are so many great reasons to join our Patreon. Ad-free versions of our reviews and other videos, plus exclusive content like extra review footage and hidden gems from an extensive archive. Get early access to selected videos, enjoy the Sonic Talk pre-show banter, and there's a growing library of sample instruments and impulse responses to choose from. You'll also get access to our Discord server and a private monthly hangout with the team. So head over to patreon.com/Sonicstate to see the latest offers and explore our ever-expanding collection of Patreon-only content, and help keep what we do independent. See you there. Yes, indeed. And while I'm still talking about Patreon, I know this is kind of outside of the bounds of the ad, but we do have a free decent sampler Proton instrument taster for all of those people who are members, and that includes free members. So do go over and grab that. It's got the UI that's designed by Venus Theory, which is one of the reasons we're sort of pulling all these threads together. But do check it out. It's free, and you can see the sort of thing that you can access of all this other synths and stuff that we've sampled over time. In terms of what's coming up, I'll just do a bit more housekeeping. Yes, I've said that. Check out the Proton. We've also finally got the Artemis, the Dreadbox Artemis. I want to say thanks to Maths. He lent me his because for some reason I just could not get hold of one in the UK. I've updated the firmware. I posted a little sort of intro video on Patreon asking for questions. So far, I'm enjoying it. It's just a question of finding time to actually get the review done, but that's coming up. And there's a Patreon Superstar Hangout this Sunday at 6 o'clock. So if you've just joined us, I know we've got a bunch of new members recently, consider coming along to that. It's good fun. So 6 o'clock UK time. Check the Patreon site for information on how to join. It's all there. Right. Housekeeping's out of the way. Let's bring in Paulee. There we go. Paulee Bow there in Birmingham in the digital enclave. What's that? Oh, that's the CX. Is that the CX5 or the CX50?
CX5M, yeah.
CX5M in the background.
With an SD card slot for modern storage.
Oh, wow. It's like you've actually got a fast drive in there. Wow.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're not using the floppies anymore?
Or the original carts. I don't know if I've got an original cart here somewhere, but yeah. It can only access about 128k at a time though, Nick. So, don't get too excited.
But it can load it really fast.
Yes, it can. So, talking of retro junk, we've been discussing, me and you, ideas for a potential retro-ish Sonicstate podcast, haven't we? We're not going to give too many details away, but
absolutely,
we've had some incredible engagement this month on various articles about old computers or remakes of old synths. Like there's going to be a new kind of self-made, just one guy is making a JX8P clone and changing the filters with 2044 chips. So that was a great article. There was one about the Amiga, and we were thinking, it's going to be
there's an appetite, isn't there? Yeah.
There's an appetite for this stuff. So maybe we can do a bit more and do a specific podcast on retro every now and then, which I think will be be a good idea.
I think that's going to be great. Well, and also I've been doing work behind the scenes to develop our own podcast platform, which means that we're able to add more podcasts and just manage them a bit better. And, it just sort of makes us a bit more flexible. Actually, well, we could ask, couldn't we? Because we've been thinking about what we should call it. And we've got a lot of ideas.
We've got so many names. I don't know if we found
the one where we've both just gone, that's it. So maybe in the comments, if you can think of an idea, a name for this retro technology, digital technology type podcast, chuck them in the comments, and we'll add them to the list if they're not too X-rated, shall we say? But yeah, we'll see. Because, now we're both looking at the chat. We're not looking at it because what's going on in the chat.
They can't be X-rated because we're not launching Sonicstate OnlyFans until next year. So. That's some way down the pipeline.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we've been busy with that. We've been busy doing articles. I did a video on the Blofeld, which went down really well.
Yeah.
I quite like taking these synths, which are kind of, almost homely background. Everyone's played them and almost cast them aside, as kind of older synths, and digging in there and seeing what surprising sounds we can come up with. So that one was really good. And the last exciting thing I want to mention is I've got a gig, and I've got all of the details now. So essentially it's free. This is the thing, so you can come and see me for free. So if you are in London on the, I believe it's, hang on, here it is, on the 22nd of September. And if you're in London, I'm doing a gig at Rich Mix on Bethnal Green Road. And it's part of an event called DM Lab. They're doing a synthesizer special. And it's essentially an event for disabled musicians to play and also speak about their practice. And there's 3 of us doing sets, and in between the sets you're gonna have manufacturers of interesting accessible synthesizers doing stalls and demonstrations. I believe there's one in between, so
nice.
Yeah. And I believe one person is bringing the kind of instrument that they've designed to play with one arm, which I thought was really cool. So that'll be, interesting to try out.
Where is it, Paulee? What's the venue?
It's at Rich Mix in London on Bethnal Green Road. Rich Mix is like a sort of multi-floor gigging venue, and it's got a 3-screen cinema and stuff like that. So I'm super excited about that one.
Nice.
Especially
my daughter doesn't live far from there. Maybe she'll come. Maybe I'll get her to pop in. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Excellent. Well, that sounds good. I mean, I guess a lot of prep work for that.
Definitely. Yeah, I've got to get video, because I'm doing a speech and a talk about my practice as well. So there'll be video behind me, synchronizing sequences and effects and stuff. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of prep over the next couple of weeks. A mad dash.
Are you going to use the CX5M?
The CX5M or the Amiga? No, I'm not taking those down on the train with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record video and audio out of them. To be part of the the thing that's behind me, the backing kind of elements and the visuals will be generated mostly by those two, and that means I can just bring maybe, what was I thinking of bringing? I was thinking of bringing a guitar and maybe an MC101. And a tiny case of modular, and then that's it.
Wow. Are you going to sequence anything, or is it all?
Yeah, definitely. Because the MC101 has got like 4 tracks of sequencing.
Yes, of course.
And you found that the memory wasn't the best in the world But if I'm just sequencing, when you did the MC707, I think you commented that it was short on memory, sampling memory or sequence memory or something like that. If I'm just doing the odd bit here and there, it's not going to matter. So there we go. Anyhow, I'm going to see if I can make it work and make it small.
Di Stanton has very kindly said can't make the 22nd, but donation to a worthy cause. So thank you very much, Di. That's very kind.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't it? Well, people are nice. You know, I think people are endlessly surprised. I mean, you know, the thing that you find with a lot of communities, they are generally a reflection of society, and society can be unpleasant and cruel. But I think our little enclave of synth nuts is generally nice people. When we brought my partner brought a friend of hers to Berlin, and they just sort of hung out. They stayed at the hotel, hung out with the people that we hung out with, came to the event, and they said, I can't believe how nice everybody is. I wasn't expecting, and she had a really nice time. And actually, they're going to come next year just because for the crack. I mean, they did all the Berlin historical stuff last year, like massively overdid. So this time they might be able to get a bit more have a bit more fun. Although they did have quite a lot. It's almost too much fun on a couple of occasions, shall we say? But I won't go into that.
No, you don't need to. You don't need. I'm imagining too much fun in Berlin. That sounds very, very, down certain paths that I'm not going to bring up.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was purely. It's purely a victim of the grape, shall we say?
Okay, there we go.
Leave it at that. The grape or the hops. So yeah, well anyway, we had a couple of good suggestions in the chat. Retro Sonic,
yes.
Retro. What was it? I did put them up. They've gone now because I can't come back to them. So, but I will. We'll come back to them. But we do have other stuff to talk about as well. Oh, actually, aren't you? We're hoping, and I never like to trail things too much, but I think there might be a bento box coming your way. Which, if we can fit it in, you'll be able to at least have a look at it and give us some thoughts on it, and hopefully we'll get a video as well. And that's going to be quite. Maybe if it's really good, you might end up using that in your gig. Who knows?
Yeah, because it's got way more RAM. That's it, exactly. Just flying by the seat of my pants and just programming a set on an entirely new piece of hardware.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Why ever not? That wouldn't at all be stressful. That wouldn't be stressful in the slightest, would it? Well, anyway, let's have a look and see where we're going first. We've got a bunch of things. Oh, this is a good one. In a world where everything, if you listen to Cory Doctorow and his kind of thoughts about the way that the internet, everything goes from sort of free to being squeezed. They call it enshittification, which I hesitate to use because we try and keep this podcast clean. But in a world where that is prevalent, this is really good. I'm just let's see if I can find it. This is called Faircamp. I'm just gonna play it. This video. It's a great idea.
Hi friends, it's Wesley. As a musician, distributing and sharing your music with your fans is deeply important to your craft. While it's easier than ever to share music online, the options available for independent musicians really aren't that great. I want to talk a little bit more about this problem, but I'd also like to highlight an open source project that you might want to check out if you're interested in a different way of doing things. Services like DistroKid, Tune...
That wasn't really the video I was expecting, to be honest, but Faircamp essentially is it's a little utility that will work on most web servers. You have folders full of audio, and it just creates a flat site that gives you kind of players and a static in fact, actually, if I just it's this one I want, a site generator for audio producers. It's free. I think if we use it, I think we'd probably contribute, and it gives you customizable players from folders of audio that could be streamable, downloadable. You can put coupon codes, you can have sort of soft paywalls. It's just a really good idea. So you can embed stuff in your web page of music that you do by dropping folders in and running a short process. And I just thought, what a great piece of news for ultimately the time when most of the things are subscription or whatever. This kind of does things that, Bandcamp is great. We like Bandcamp in terms of independence. It's one of the better ones. But many of the others, they're quite a hefty subscription fee. And, this is just something you can run yourself. And I just thought, what a great idea. We might experiment with using that for embedding players, but it looks good.
Most definitely. And it's kind of a... it's kind of giving two fingers up to the big musical corporations, isn't it? In a sense, it's kind of doing the DIY punk ethos of things, being that it's free. I wonder for how long, because if anything's free and amazing, someone will find a way to monetize it before too long. But
yeah, I suppose I haven't looked into the nuts and bolts whether it has to go to a centralized service to do encoding and stuff,
Sure.
or whether it runs locally. But if it's locally, then there's nothing for it to hook into that could eventually be not free. I mean, it will work as it is. Maybe there are other things, but yeah, it seems like a great idea. And just
I'm wondering.
I thought I'd start with some good news anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm wondering if things like this will become more prevalent, as maybe if commercial music drifts more and more towards AI, and less, there's the more grassroots approach to music might become a bit more important.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I mean, just obviously most web hosts you have to pay something, but there are very cheap options for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly if you want to get your hands dirty. I mean, we use a brilliant European server, and you can get servers for as little as €3 a month, and that includes 20 terabytes of traffic. So you could put all of this on. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
That is crazy.
There are some good things out there, and sort of rather ironically, with the ability to vibe code, you can sort of create these sort of things are likely to come along. People solving problems and using actually AI to code something that doesn't then cost something. I mean, I guess they might want to monetize it eventually,
Sure.
but that's one of the uses that is actually quite positive in terms of AI, I would say, unless of course you're a coder and are not getting any work, but then there are probably other areas that you might want to get into. But it's
from all of the coder friends I have, they're saying that AI is actually making more work for them at the moment. That could change in the future, but yeah, there's a lot of sort of reports of AI building something which looks great and functional, but then has some glaring security backdoor problems, or has some kind of unforeseen, memory handling.
That's funny you should say that. Darren McKay, if I push this up, this might push. I hope it's not too
Darren is one of them.
It looks awesome. Darren McKay, how security is handled and if self-updates for the producer of web. I guess, I mean, in terms of security, it depends. If you're putting a paywall up there, then obviously security is an issue. But if it's just a static site with no other services, then it's no less secure, I guess, than anything else. If you're not kind of collecting email addresses or storing passwords or anything else, then hopefully, that won't be problematic. But I mean, it's a fair concern, I suppose, but only if you're... Yeah. If there are commercial aspects, I mean, I don't know. You probably know much better than I do, Darren, but I just thought I'd put that one up there. But anyway, good stuff. Quite enjoyed that.
Hi, Darren, by the way.
Nice positive topic to start with. But I think I'm going to try it because it might be something we can use for putting stuff in Sonic posts, because embedding audio is always tricky. I mean, one of the things that we struggle with at the moment is, when we have a CMS which has a graphical UI front end. And we use something that's getting very old now, just the sort of what you see is what you get editor. And I've been trying to update it. But now, I mean, it's honestly, to update a CMS front end, it costs something like $70 to $150 per seat.
Really?
Just for I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's absolutely no way. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
As a retro computing fan, I don't mind our CMS, to be honest. It gives me the warm and fuzzies. It's functional, Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it used to not want to upload a JPEG for some reason. An error has occurred, and then I send it the same JPEG and it's fine. But I like old tech because it has a bit of personality,
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I guess the thing is because it's functional and native, we can kind of do what we want to it and kind of go, oh,
Yes.
let's add this feature, and we can do that. But yeah, it'd be nice to update something, but it's impractical or non-economically viable. And if you've got 4 contributors, that's like $500 a month just to write articles which can be written at the moment. It's ludicrous.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't have access to writing articles on Sonicstate, which is all of you in the podcast listening, there's the button you push to save your article and put it on the site is publish and be damned, which I've always liked.
That's the Oscar Wilde, isn't it? I think it's an Oscar Wilde quote from what I remember. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Anyway, I think we'll just take a quick break there, and we'll say we'll be back after this short message from our friends.
Unlock the colour in your sound with FXEQ, a unique multi-effect plugin that lets you paint 5 powerful creative effects into specific frequencies in your audio. No complex bus routing, no endless plugin stacks. Simply use a familiar EQ workflow to infuse a bit of drive, space and texture where you need them for quick results that match your creative vision. FXEQ's 5 creative effects modules all run in parallel, letting you discreetly shape each effect into your mix, letting you add more intrigue to specific parts of your sound and immediately avoid muddy mixes without needing additional plugins afterwards. FXEQ offers a whole new way to work with effects, with surgical precision, artistic flow, and intuitive control. Download a free trial of FXEQ today, or get it for yourself. Now available at iZotope.com.
Yeah, excellent. And we thank them very much for their support. Excuse me. Right, that was Faircamp. I'm just trying to think where we go next. There's a few in it. I mean, I guess the big news is the new Native Instruments update for Maschine, which works in Standalone. I confess I have very little experience of this. So, I mean, we can cover it, but I don't know if we'll be able to speak with any authority. But I know that there's been a lot of people who well, I'll just press the button, shall I? And then we can at least say we've talked about it and it's current news, eh?
Woo! What is good? Datsun here. I'm sitting here in front of the Maschine Plus. We got the Maschine 3.0 software update. So much to talk about and cover here. So let's get straight into this. And I'm going to break down a bunch of these updates through a beat I made on the Maschine Plus. Let's go. So the first update that we're going to go through right now is the main one, which is Maschine 3.0 software being on the Maschine Plus, as well as on your desktop computer. That allows you to save and transfer sessions seamlessly. Now, one of the major workflow enhancements that come with the Maschine 3.0 update is Bounce in Place. Now, Bounce in Place is
I mean, watch it if you're mostly interested. I confess I don't use it. I remember Gaz did spend some time reviewing the original Maschine, but it feels like there was a branch, isn't there? There's kind of the MPC workflow and the Maschine workflow, and it's kind of, you know, I don't know what the split in terms of the market is. I know a lot of people love Maschine, but we did talk about this a while back, didn't we? That they felt it had been orphaned, but actually it now looks like since February, it's been clear that Native Instruments is working on a major update with the integration of the Maschine 3 engine, and it's demonstrating its commitment to longevity of its product. Full disclosure, Native Instruments are a sponsor of this podcast, but that's not why we're talking about it. It's just because I know there are a lot of Maschine users out there. Perhaps if you're in the comments and you're using it, maybe you could tell us what we're looking forward to. I mean, the standalone hardware workstation pad-based is, you know, it's a growing and powerful market. I mean, there are now a fair few of these, really, aren't there? So
definitely, all the way back to stuff like the SP, the EMU SP 1200 and the Akai MPC 60 and stuff like that. I've not. But I did notice that this update, and I could be completely wrong, I could have read the wrong web page, but does it have Contact 8 support now? I read.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. It could be. Let's see if I can find that. I don't know. Let me see.
The other thing I read was,
I can't actually read that. It's a bit 3.3 update. Let's have a look. Machine. See, is there a list here? I should have probably. Yeah, I can't. To be honest, Paulie, I don't have that information.
No
I do
worries.
apologise to our viewers, but yeah.
I think from what I read, it has Contact 8 support now, which is pretty huge in kind of merging these worlds together, because you think of Maschine users. Well, I think of Maschine users writing exactly the kind of music that the guy played in the demo, you know, kind of sample-based hip-hop or sample-based kind of drum and bass kind of stuff at faster tempos. So to add all of that power of Contact 8 on top of that makes it kind of seek into a whole different world, you know, a whole different.
I mean, you could just use it as a player, couldn't you, really? Yeah,
You could
use it as a
literally
multi-timbral.
Yeah, which is amazing. You know, I use Contact 8 all the time and absolutely swear by it for certain sounds. You know, string libraries and things like that I really love.
There's
The
a lot
other
of
thing I
love-hate,
read,
isn't there? Because a lot of people find it,
Yeah.
it's clunky and sort of memory inefficient and all of those things. It sort of probably needs a bit of a massive rewrite. But yeah.
possibly. Most of my libraries are pretty old though, so they kind of work really well. You know, some of the kind of brass and string stuff I got like over 10 years ago, which is still absolutely amazing. But the other thing I read was stem separation as well, which is pretty big in hardware, I'd imagine. You know, you can do it on websites. You can do it on in DAW, but to do it in hardware,
The MPC, I think MPC does it on certain models, or at least they're I think it does now. I would have that. I'm pretty sure it does. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be one of the sort of the kind of the milestones for this sort of device to be able to do that. But yeah,
if you are into the workflow of crate digging and then getting your samples and then assembling them, and if you can now rip out just the, you know, bass line or just the drums.
Yeah, you have to do it on desktop according to Steve Elbows. It's only available on the desktop. But I guess if you got Maschine Plus, you'd have desktop as well, and then you would have to transfer
you just drag
stuff
it in
between it. Yeah.
So it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. But there we go. So I imagine people in this ecosystem of music makers are going to be very happy with the update, especially as you said, if they were worried that it was not going to be updated or it was going to be abandoned. You know, if they had those fears, then I think Native Instruments has shown them that, you know, there's still plenty of life left in the platform.
I wonder if we're going to get to a situation, I mean, you know, God forbid, but you could imagine I wonder if they're tempted to be doing deals, you know, either Akai or Native Instruments or any of these kind of standalone hardware or Ableton Push or something, which would link in with something like, you know, say, I don't know, God forbid, Suno or similar, where you could just kind of go,
God forbid,
feed me the stems of this idea I just had, you know, from a prompt, and then build it on top of that. I mean, it unfortunately feels like that might be the way things go, but I wonder whether it's worth, you know, because you think would they have a bigger backlash than they would have take up? It's an interesting thought.
It could be a generational thing, you know. Maybe people are going to be born into the world of AI, aren't they? It's gonna have always like some people younger than me were kind of born into the internet. You know, I remember having 12 or 13 blissful years of my life before the internet turned up. So some people are just going to be born into that world, and there's not going to be any stigma for those people to use those tools. And
maybe so. Maybe
you know,
I mean, Timberland's doing his best to normalise it all, which I find a bit distasteful.
Well,
but I guess that's just the way it is.
You know,
but,
ever since the acid jazzed evening scandal, you can look that up. That guy hasn't been my favourite musician, but there we go.
Babs is saying they did abandon support for some of the Maschine hardware, older hardware. It's only the latest hardware that works with version 3. Other hardware only works with version 2. So that's something to bear in mind. But good to see that there's at least some form of momentum. There's bound to be a hardware cut off at some point, I'd imagine. Okay, well, that's a topic. And it was current. Woohoo! So let's.
I think we blagged that okay.
I think we managed to fill the requisite amount of minutes there. So I do apologise for my lack of knowledge on Maschine. It's just not something that I'm familiar with. Let's do this one. This is kind of fun. I thought this promised more than perhaps it delivers. Let's see. I'll preface it with that. Let's see.
Welcome to Twinkle, the plugin designed to create musical ornaments and flourishes. Short, fast, and expressive gestures like arpeggios, trills, runs, and sparkling bursts of notes.
It's a great idea. I have to say, the video examples they used, so there's a video shot and they put a twinkle embellishment underneath it, and it added absolutely nothing to normally there's the symbiosis between what you see on the screen and what you're hearing, and it implies something. This was absolutely wrong. Just everything about it was wrong. I don't think they did that, but I like the idea of this. It's almost, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It's like an auto harp, where you have that strum pad and you can just pluck. So you have control over the speed. And with modern auto harps, you can do some really wacky stuff with the, I think the new Suzukis, you can do all sorts of weird scales.
Yeah, the omnichord.
So you could achieve a similar thing. Oh, the omnichord, sorry, I beg your pardon. But that's nearly $1,000 or more. And this is $29. So I don't know. But it's an interesting idea. Gestural stuff is really handy for people who perhaps can't. I mean, I'd find it hard to play those notes at that speed, even if I knew what I was doing. So I suppose it's
sure.
sort of, is it acceptable?
I mean, if you can't play the notes really fast, how are you gonna impress the women, Nick? They're not going to be impressed with dragging a mouse.
It's not part of my agenda
you're there,
these days, but
if you're there, shredding a guitar virtuoso, Isn't that the whole reason all of us are in this? Sorry. Anyway, back onto the topic at hand. It sounded kind of like, and I don't know if it's the patches that were chosen, but it kind of sounded like you had a general MIDI module and a piano roll, and you were just dragging the mouse up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the kind of crescendo of it. I heard the notes, but I didn't hear the kind of. I wonder
how you.
I guess maybe you could use a foot controller.
They had a mod wheel, to kind of to decrease. That would make sense. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard, or have a mod wheel or something to morph between scales or divisions or whatever. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes, so I think depending on the patch you use, and kind of depending on the controllers you've got set up, you could probably get some good stuff out of it. I'm not against sort of soundtracky kind of hold down a chord and something evolves out of it. I've been doing a similar thing on my Korg Nautilus, because I'm doing a preset bank of sounds, and I'm using things like arpeggiators and LFOs with variable rates, triggering envelopes and things like that to get similar runs of notes and textures and things like that. So I think if you can put the right work in, you can probably get some good results out of this. But saying that, if you in your DAW, there are usually MIDI plugins which can get you sort of similar results. You know, like scale editors where you just take out a bunch of notes from your scale and then, you know, drag your mouse around and things like that. So yeah,
I suppose this comes under the
definitely use it.
It comes under the idea of a nice idea, not quite there, possibly, because
How much is it?
I like the $29. It's regular. $50 seems too expensive. Yeah, but
I think for a little sort of, you know, idea generating thing.
I guess if it outputs MIDI, I think you can drag the MIDI clips that it generates into your DAW as well, so you get, you know, you can then revoice it and whatnot. So that makes a bit more use. But yeah, probably best not to spend too much more time on that. But hey, you know, let's move on, shall we? We've done the Maschine. I don't know whether we should. Should we do Cherry Audio? That looks. Did you get that one, or have I? Or maybe Waveboy? What do you think? Should we go Waveboy?
Let's go Waveboy because I can definitely.
All right. Yeah, let's go Waveboy.
Wax lyrical.
Okay, here we go. This is a Game Boy chip, Sid, I suppose, or wavetable, 12-bit wavetable, PCM oscillator, 115 bucks, a noise mode LFSR, 12-bit sampler, real-time bit sample crusher, and envelope. And this is obviously just the mic audio, I think. But I guess if you're into that chip tune, I like the fact that it's sort of, there's just nothing on the screen, nothing on the plate. I think the original is going to look a bit more sort of fancy than that, but I quite like the monolithic look with no labels.
You wrote
the article on. Actually, you wrote the article on Sonic and did another one of your sort of interviews with the developers. What were your thoughts on this?
So the big thing for this in the Eurorack realm is it's another example of a module with a variable sample rate DAC. So unlike lovely modern clean digital, you know, 48 kilohertz or whatever production systems, and it interpolates as you know, change the pitch of the samples, there's none of that here. And in a design that kind of harks back to the original sort of PPG waves, if you like. It's just got a variable sample rate. So I think the wavetables on this only have 32 samples, so they're pretty, you know, they're pretty lo-fi already. But as you go further down the keyboard, because there's no interpolation, those bass sounds will just have an unbelievable crust on them without the need of a bit crusher or anything. And you get these beautiful ghost frequencies which are related to the pitch that you're playing. These sort of kind of haunting ghost crust frequencies. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think I am going to get hold of one at some point, so I'm gonna do a demo. But yeah, it was actually really, really moving talking to Tim the other day, because this is his first ever Eurorack module, and he's just absolutely over the moon that he's made it to the Sonicstate website, you know. And I was like, well, you helped me out, you know, you gave me another article to write.
Another 500
I'm always
words,
looking for articles. Yeah. So, but he was absolutely kind of blown away that, you know, we kind of covered it. But I think that's the beauty of Sonicstate. It doesn't matter if you are a mega corporation or you're just a small 1 or 2 person team that's built something cool. We'll talk to you if you've made something, you know, that we think is cool.
Yeah, I mean
that's
fair,
right, isn't it, Nick?
Many other sites do the same thing, but I appreciate the props. It's, you know, always nice to have one's work appreciated. But yeah, you wrote the article and found it, so yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I'm looking at Ghost Crust Frequency is a contender for the
Ghost Crust Frequency.
for the show title so far. I also point out that if you've not actually been, if you've not joined our Discord, do check out our Discord, because there is a cool finds topic there, and I've been putting, because we while Paulie and all our other people do a really good job of finding stuff, sometimes there's other things out there that we might not see. So if you do join our Discord, stick something in there. We'll give you a shout out in the article if something comes of it. So please do go and do that. I don't have a link to the Discord at the moment. I probably should actually have that to hand, but it was impromptu. So you'll just go and find it. It's not hard to find. If you join Patreon free, you get access to it anyway. So it's no biggie. Right. Okay. Well, I think we're just going to take a quick break. Back after this short message. Native Instruments Modular Icons. Vintage modular synth sounds from iconic artists and instruments. Made in collaboration with the Bob Moog Foundation. Part of the Play series, great sounding presets and real-time control.
Modular Icons was built from the real thing. Rare modular synths that shape the sound of electronic music. Everything was sampled directly from vintage Moog, Buchla, ARP, and more, captured in detail, one knob turn at a time. You get the warmth and unpredictability of analog with the freedom of modern tools.
The modulars themselves are so expansive, but when you are providing 10 or 12 different incredible modulars, people really have this immense palette to explore and to shape in their own way, to create in their own way.
Over 60% of the proceeds go to supporting the Bob Moog Foundation. Yes, indeed. Right, so let's get back to another topic. Let me see what we've got here. I don't know, what do we want? Do we want that? Should we go
Lost
for...
and Found, is it?
Lost and Found.
The Chase Bliss audio.
Oh, yes. Okay, let's do that. The Chase Bliss. Yeah, I'm going to play. This is a video by hold on, let me just make sure I get new Chase Bliss. Emily Hopkins, the harp lady, did a review of this.
Yes.
And obviously, Chase Bliss, she's great. And Chase Bliss do wonderful pedals. So fantastic combination.
This is Lost and Found, and it's Chase Bliss's first multi-effect pedal. I honestly think this is probably their easiest pedal to use, and it can be an ambient reverb. A resonator, a granular delay, it can be a synth pedal, and you can combine any two of the 12 effects for some really cool and weird sounds.
Nice. Excellent work there from Emily Hopkins. She knows how to do an intro to a review, doesn't she? Front load it with all the good bits. We should probably learn something from her. She's awesome. Anyway, that's the new Chase and Bliss Lost and Found. I think it's pre-order. It's a special. I mean, Chase Bliss have really cornered the market in sort of high-end, niche, highly desirable DSP stuff. I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between some of their pedals, and they can sometimes be quite complex because of all the dip switches. As Emily said there, this one's supposed to be a lot easier to use. And their algorithmic, their DSP stuff they're really starting to get up there. I don't know who specifically does their coding, but there are certain teams that just really, we've got Sign Vibes. Obviously, before that we had Mutable Instruments, Emily, and although they don't no longer do it. So there are these sort of superstar coders, and I think Chase Bliss is sort of nudging at that sort of top echelon, if not already there. I think it's going to be 469. I mean, their pedals are not cheap. They always are quite expensive, but they just seem to have a desirability, and it does sound really good. I don't know what you thought about that.
I went straight to the manual and looked up the algorithm porn again. Just to see, exactly, because the only slight criticism I had was, what exactly does it do? It kind of was bathed in kind of almost mystery, It was just like all rare algorithms and, stuff we found on the cutting room floor. And I was actually really surprised to kind of see a few different things with this pedal. One, it has a bunch of little retro-looking dip switches on the back of the pedal.
Yeah, a lot of their stuff does, yeah.
And that was very exciting to me as someone who kind of likes anything that looks a bit retro, where you can change the control assignments or trigger different hidden modes, using those dip switches. So that was quite exciting, but I will just read a couple of the algorithms as well as things like reverb and ambience. There's something called a pitch repeater, which I imagine is a pitch shifting delay. There's a pinging phaser, a grain tumbler. I wonder if you can put your socks to dry in with the grain tumbler.
No, I'd imagine you can only do like small, like sweet corn or barley.
Okay,
if it's a grain tumbler.
Yeah. An impulse synthesizer, a sympathetic resonator, and one's called Gen Light, which has an alternate mode called Crinkles and Snags, which I'm excited to find out what Crinkles and Snags is. But
that sounds like sausage and chips, doesn't it? In northern speak. Snags is a word for sausages in the middle and upper parts of the UK.
And crinkle cut fries. Crinkles and Snags. So anyhow, I'm excited to kind of look into it more and see what these algorithms do exactly. But I must say, I am kind of in my world not a big pedal or effects buyer anymore. Since I got a few different things like the Paulee Bebo pedal, which is like a modular environment, and then I got Zynthian, which has the mod FX. Mod
right, so you can build your own stuff.
So I've got so many effects to kind of explore that I haven't. That right. I don't really buy them, but some of the people on I will say I've got my own Discord as well, Magical Synth Adventure Discord, if you ever want to join that as well as Sonicstate. Some of the people on my Discord are real sort of pedal junkies, so they will most definitely be buying this pedal and kind of adding it to their, kind of collection, because they like, I guess, smaller, more focused kind of things, whereas I prefer big modular things that I can connect up. And there's no right or wrong answer in effects, really.
I suppose the thing is with the pedal, I mean, this is something that we've seen happen more and more, and I think it's sort of almost tied to economics. Even though these pedals are expensive, they take up very little room, so you can add it to your studio without having to think about getting a bigger room or a bigger table or you see what I mean? You can expand. Waggy did a big shout out for the Empress FX Zoya, which has been probably the longest serving modular one, and I don't know how, because I know Cuckoo's a big fan of that, and I'm guessing they're still producing algorithms and updates for that, so you can run those things. And the idea of a platform, DSP platform, you can put algorithms into, this is it's been the holy grail that hasn't ever quite hit the spot exactly, so you can just kind of go, I buy the hardware and then I can put whatever I want. I mean, Line 6 started doing this years and years ago, didn't they? You could buy like it wasn't impulse responses, but you could buy certain types of effects and certain models for their pedals and sort of dump them in via and TC Electronics did it as well.
Zoom did it as well.
Go there.
With the MS 100 pedal, where you had like a little iOS store where you could buy little virtual pedals and stuff. So it's definitely a fruitful kind of thing, but some people just like a more focused thing in a beautiful box, because pedals look absolutely beautiful, don't they? They've got different colors. I sometimes I see a pedal that I've got no intention of buying, but I'm like, oh, the shade of those knobs is a really nice green, I really fancy that that pedal, but there we go.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, I think that's exactly it. I mean, I think, that, and in a lot of ways, I mean, even though I was just talking about this notion of DSP platforms, it does mean you've sort of committed yourself to quite a big support long tail back end to recode, or to make it, if you are using some sort of app store, you're kind of you're open to whatever Apple decide that month, or whatever the hoops you have to jump through.
Definitely.
They're always changing that, and so I guess that becomes less and less attractive. One box, there it goes, and then that's it. I mean, I suppose, it's an interesting one, but Chase Bliss smashing it again. They seem to be on a roll,
and it sounds great.
Stuff.
It sounds really good.
It does sound pretty good.
Is the main thing.
Yeah.
So
cool. Okay, gosh, we're whipping through them. I didn't think we'd get through all of these. I've actually got loads. Oh, I'm going to go fully tech. Okay, I'm going to go for this one because I saw this one. I don't know if you saw this one, but I really liked this. This just tickled my fancy. It's a bit expensive, but I just love the thought of it. So I'll just play this. So it's a breadboard. But as you can see, it comes with it's got a little processor, and you can just make the connections using this sort of wand thing and plug all your stuff in. And it's got hats for it'll speak MIDI, and it's got what other formats? 10 GPIOs, 7 12-bit DACs. There's a lot of stuff going on in it. I just thought, this would be perfect for prototyping little knickknacks and robotics and synth ideas and controllers and all sorts of things. It's a bit pricey. It's $389, but I'm already thinking, I think I'd like it, even though I probably don't have any time in my life to use it or develop with it. I just like the idea of it. I thought that was cool. And for people who may be curious about making stuff, it could be a good start, right?
Definitely. So this is essentially Light Bright for grown-ups, right? Basically. Do you ever remember that toy in the 80s, Light Bright? It was basically it was the same. You had a little pen or little shapes, and you lit up a little board of LEDs, basically.
Oh, right.
It was like the hot toy of 1986 or something, and this seems like a very, very similar kind of thing just for grown-ups, and I really like it because of that. But yeah, I like to see these kind of these products, and it's quite interesting to me as someone with very, very poor soldering skills. Honestly, the amount of times I've burnt myself on a soldering iron. So this looks a lot safer, and at some point I need to make true the dream of having my Paulee quincer design.
Right.
So something like this could work well, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it is quite a small board, I suppose. So if you needed a lot of space, it would be kind of expensive. And I suppose the notion of this thing, I mean, what would be really handy is if you could prototype your thing on that, and then there was something that would read it and sort of suggest the PCB that you could get off and get printed, and then you could start making. Do you see what I mean? Then you could make them from that, because that little wand thing measures. It not only it could be pretty cool.
It could be linked to that PCB manufacturer that every other YouTuber has in their sponsored ads. Basically, which I'm not going to mention. In the retro computing community, if you've made a video, it will be sponsored by a certain PCB manufacturer.
I'll make a note of that for the podcast. Yeah, once we get it going, we'll give them a call, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they are legitimately a very good company, so yeah, that's cool. But this product, I need to look into it more because I didn't quite get down the list of topics today to read them all.
No, it's fair enough.
It looks really cool, and I imagine you can make quite simple circuits. Like I imagine a digital oscillator wouldn't be too difficult to make with this, because you just need a timer, a wave shaper, some of the bits and pieces, a little bit of RAM, job done.
Yeah. I think there's probably going to be a fairly large community of people who would be happy to help with stuff like this as well, because I mean it's the sort of thing that does tend to get people evangelizing it a little bit. But yeah, look good. I thought it was fun. Okay, what else have we got? Are we going to go for? Let's finish up maybe with the Cherry Krumar Spirit, which is the new Cherry Audio thing. They're banging them out, and last one I looked at was great. So this was a mono synth. But it has, obviously this one you could do polyphonic, 4, 8 or 16 voices. I think the last thing I looked at was the Polyvox, which I quite liked. This is so cheesy, this demo there. And it's on the zeitgeist of the hot Italian synths, I suppose. Krumar was Italian, I think, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. Maybe
I believe
I'm wrong
so.
There. Yeah, and they're doing their thing, and this will be good. I think it's available $59 at the moment. It replicates, probably worth checking out. They've got demos and videos up. I might maybe get hold of one and do a patch flip or something. Have you ever played a Spirit?
No, it was one of the synths that back in the early 2000s on forums like Vintage Synth Explorer and Harmony Central and probably Your Gas Station forum that used to have. It was one of those kind of rare white whale monosynths that sometimes people talked about, but I've never seen one in the flesh. But I think that it's a good option to bring into VST because it has multi-mode filtering and it's got a parametric EQ built in to one of the filters. But the thing I was trying to look up, it's got a couple of generators called X and Y.
Oh, Shapers?
Shaper
Mod X
Y
and
Mod
Shaper
X.
Oh, right.
That's the one. So it's got a variable waveform LFO, which can go sawtooth, triangle, ramp wave, and then
Oh, there's
it looks near modular. You know, like how you can sometimes in modular you want to modulate an LFO with another LFO, or you want to modulate an envelope with an LFO to kind of change it on each note. It's got that kind of madness going on, meaning that it was a very complex to build synthesizer apparently.
Well,
there we go.
As McAvery said in the chat there, that a lot of it was made or designed by Moog, or by there was several
Bob Moog.
Yeah, so Bob Moog, yeah, indeed.
So now we can play it. Now we can have a go at an emulation of it, which is bro.
Yeah, I might get hold of that and do a patch flip or something. It might be kind of fun. I'll try not to make it as cheesy as that demo was, because that to me, the demo was almost the epitome of really skinny 80s synths that didn't really take up all that much space. It sounded a bit weedy, but that might have just been the choice of instrumentation rather than anything else.
Yeah, potentially. It should howl. It's got 2 filters. It should absolutely howl and bring you to your knees. So hopefully,
absolutely,
some presets will show that.
Absolutely. Before we go, obviously Bitwig 6 beta came out today. It looks like some big changes there. They were in touch. I posted the news earlier, but it was after the topics had gone out for the show. But that's worth checking out. Lots of big automation updates, clip aliasing, automation clips, UI tweaks, and new tools and stuff. If you're a Bitwig user, probably worth going over and downloading your copy if you've got an active subscription there. And I know a lot of people love Bitwig, and it looks like one of those updates that people are going to really kind of go, ooh, because we get DAW updates, but they're very rarely these days. They used to be such a big event, and it doesn't feel like that's so much of a thing now, but this looks like it might be a bit more. I know I've sprung that on you a little bit, Paulie, but
yeah, no worries. That's absolutely fine. I'm not into that ecosystem whatsoever. So, but it's fine, because when Sam Battle came on the show, he started the tradition of guests being able to say, "You best pass by me because I don't know anything about this topic." So there we go.
Apart from when you're the only guest, then it's a bit more tricky,
Yes.
but that's all right. Anyway, thank you very much. Maybe this is a good time to wrap things up. I want to say, we'll wrap things up. So thank you very much, everybody. Nice to see all you folks in the chat room. You're welcome every week. And of course, don't forget to, check the Discord out to go. And if you've got any topic suggestions or cool finds that we might post on Sonic, I will try and remember to stick the link for Discord in the show notes. There is a Discord live invitation, but I can't remember what it is at the moment, and I should have prepped. I will have it ready for next time. So, Paulie, I guess you're back to the prep work for your gig, and anything else on the horizon? Yeah.
Well, bento box maybe will be turning up.
Yeah.
I'll be writing a bunch more articles next week, prepping for my gig. If you didn't see the start of today's show, come see me in London on the 22nd of September, where I'll be doing a live gig, which will be fun for free,
At where was it again?
Rich Mix on Bethnal Green Road in London.
Right, gotcha.
And yeah, I think that'll be it. And then planning for this podcast. This new retro podcast.
Exciting. Exciting stuff. Okay, folks. Well, thanks very much, everybody, for watching. That was Sonic Talk 8. What was it? 8? I can't even remember now. 858. There we go.
858.
Nearly at 8. Coming up for 900. No, we're not coming up for 900. We're coming for 860. Who am I kidding? Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all next time. Take care.